Hello and welcome to another episode of Nerd Age. This is a show where we talk about everything nerdy. My name is Mick. With me as always are my co-hosts, Josh.
What's up?
Corey.
Yo.
Jonah.
Yaha.
And special guest star is Joel.
Happy to be here. Here to clear my name.
Oh, do you have dirt on your name?
From allegation.
Well, you'll have plenty of time.
Yep.
We'll give you the floor at some point. So we're just going to do some...
Yeah, we're just going to start with some news. There's not much. I mean,
It's holidays. Everyone's on vacation.
Pretty relaxed podcast today.
I think January is when we're going to get some big news stuff. We talked about James Gunn doing some DC news in the new year. So I think right now it's kind of like, let's finish the year off. So, but there was some kind of rumored casting things that I wanted to talk with you guys. Ahsoka, the first one, this has been going on for a while, but apparently Mary Elizabeth Winstead will be playing Hera Syndulla in the show.
Okay.
That's kind of what has come out. I think that was a rumor a while ago. I think we might have talked about it, but no one was sure if that's the case, but it seems like it's been confirmed. The other one that's interesting is Savannah Stein. She was in
Who's that?
the new Game of Thrones.
Which character?
The House of Dragon.
Oh.
She's the what's her name? The Targaryen. She's
the
one with
who
white
did-
hair.
The one who
the one that
didn't get the
sleeps
throne?
with her own family.
no.
The one who didn't get the throne who was passed up earlier.
She's one of the
Older?
the kids.
Oh.
So she's African American.
Okay. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
The sea serpent's daughter.
So she apparently has been cast, and she's playing a young Ahsoka.
Okay, cool.
So that kind of confirms that we're gonna get some
flashbacks.
So they're
Yeah.
retconning stuff.
So maybe some Clone Wars era stuff that we talked about last week.
Do you think Hayden Christensen is coming back?
He already is cast.
Confirmed.
Oh, really?
bro.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So
Welcome to the Nerd Age podcast.
I'm the everyman on this show.
I love it.
So yeah,
It's good.
so yeah, that kind of basically confirms. We talked last week some rumors that
Right.
there's going to be World Between Worlds, maybe some
Yeah.
travel
time
back
travel.
in time.
Yeah.
But if they're actually doing a younger Ahsoka, even if it's not that, but we just get flashbacks, we talked about that. We've always wanted to see Dave Filoni do some live action Clone Wars era.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, dude.
what do you guys think of those castings? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, they both seem like good, capable actors and well-established things so far. So, yeah, I'm all for it. Should be good.
Yeah, more of the same. It's like cool. Like you got a good actress to play Hera Syndulla. That sounds good to me.
As long as we don't get any Leia situation where it's like weird, like it's kind of stupid in kind of the situations they put the girl in. Like as long as it's believable, I'm down with.
She's like
She's a lot older.
yeah,
though.
she's like an adolescent, right?
yeah,
like
she's
preteen, like preteen,
she's like
10
yeah,
to 12.
17, 18. I
Oh,
think.
okay.
Oh, what?
So we'll get like
Oh.
Clone
She's
Wars
just a
era.
younger-
sweet,
she's like,
okay.
yeah, it's not
Clone
a
Wars
child
era
actress.
Ahsoka.
Okay, so this is
I meant
like
kid as in like they're one of the children, but they're like teens.
still under like his tutelage.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
why I'm thinking she's basically the age where she could be the Ahsoka during
Nice.
cool Clone Wars. Yeah. So I guess I didn't.
Do we know
Explain.
Ahsoka's age in Clone Wars?
I'm sure someone does.
She's got to be pretty good.
I do not.
Oh, okay.
I do not know.
I mean, Garrett Dursman can probably tell us.
Yeah, he would definitely
let
know.
us know.
And how long do Togrutas live? So
That's right.
do they age at the same rate?
So the next thing I wanted to kind of just bring up quickly before we move on to something else is none of us have gotten a chance to watch Avatar, which shame on us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's
I guess.
already passed 900 million in the box office worldwide, so not just in the US but worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
So apparently a lot of people are liking it. It's amazing. I just haven't been that
Or so
interested
they
to go
say.
seeing it. Been busy with family and stuff, but I'm sure I'll watch it sometime. But what do you guys think? We've talked about this before, as in like it needs to break 2 billion to make profit, which I think that number is kind of skewed.
Oh,
People
for
just
sure.
grabbed
Yeah.
it from an interview.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think? I think we talked about if we thought it would make a lot of money, if we thought it had too much time had passed. So what are you guys' thoughts on the 900 million?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think I was one of the ones that was like, I don't want to doubt James Cameron because he's proven time and time again that he can really bring home some money. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but I think there is still a long way to go for supposedly a profit. Like, who knows? Like you guys are saying, it's like it could be anywhere from $1 billion to $3 billion or whatever. But how long has it been out?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Almost
this 11
this
days.
the second weekend.
This weekend will be 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially for not a Marvel superhero, Star Wars. Like,
Yeah. There's only like
good
5
money.
films that have been over 2 billion. So it's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think the expectation is very high.
yeah.
And so I think that it's kind of interesting how he's like, we don't make money unless we pass 2 billion. It's kind of an interesting storyline.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe him. But I know that they brought a lot of new technology into the filming of this movie. Like you saw some of the like pool stuff with the mocap.
Yeah, it looks cool.
With the waves of the water, and that's super awesome, and I'm sure super expensive. But I'm not too sold on the whole 2 billion price point on making money.
Because he said they break even to make 2 billion.
Which is insanity, because if that's true, then he's an idiot, in my opinion. He's an idiot because he's working at a deficit at that point, because only 5 films have surpassed that much.
Yeah.
So is it fake? Is it true? I don't know.
It's gotta be all made up.
But
Because
aren't 2 of those movies his?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that's
That is pretty crazy.
Too. I think he's counting.
It's going to make $2 billion and 1 million, and he's just going to pocket $1 million. That's
mine.
It's worth it. He's gonna be like The Rock, and then when it comes out, he's like, actually, we actually made
Yeah.
25.
My accountants have been running the numbers, and
Well, I'm pretty sure he's also I mean, like he develops these things. He probably has some patents in there.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I mean, maybe he's even billing the studio. He's like, there's going to be $1 billion to just make this, but he owns the company. You know, I don't know. It seems kind of weird.
Well, how much of the technology is that is costing him a lot of money is being used for the next film?
Oh, absolutely.
they
Right?
said-
Like
yeah.
it's carryover. So I think he's kind of grouping. I don't think he's lying specifically, but I think he's being unfair in the projection of the costs.
right,
Especially since they filmed multiple movies
right. They
together. So it's like, well,
Yeah. He's doing the third
that
one,
cost-
right? With it.
That's
that means
future
the
costs.
third one is going to be like, oh, the third one only cost $10 million.
Yeah.
Because they front loaded it all.
yeah. I don't know. I think we've talked about this before, but it seems so strange. Like it's doing well, and
Super well.
400,000, I
Super
think,
well.
is what they've done domestically.
Yeah.
And that's with places being shut down with winter storms and stuff like that in the U.S.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's at domestically, or is it?
That's really low.
It was over. It was over.
I think it's
over.
higher than that. I think it already hit 500 domestically, but then the international is the
Right.
400.
That's what's
Yeah.
Wait, you're saying 400,000
domestic.
400 million.
million?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like, wait,
Thousand? I was like, that's like,
That's like one movie theater. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a movie theater in New York.
But yeah, I mean that's a lot for.
Yeah,
I think they said it had like the second or third highest second week for a movie, and that's with all the stuff going on with weather and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing where it's like it's not Marvel, it's not DC, it's not Star Wars, but none of us have seen it yet. It's still making all this money, and it's just like the everyday person's like, I'm gonna go watch Avatar. I remember this movie from 15 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like it's like the people that aren't on Twitter and doing all this stuff. It's like real people, like actually like Avatar. It's
Right.
it's
Not bots.
weird. Like you can't really like gauge it or whatever. It's just like people just like Avatar for some reason. And they show up to watch it.
That's why they need to redo the Smurfs. Something about blue people.
Yeah, no, it's failed multiple
Smurfs.
times. They made like 3 Smurf movies, and they're all trash.
As of today, they've made 855.4 million worldwide.
Well, if
That's
if
where
you
they're
would
at.
have told me that before, and I would have said you're crazy.
Yeah.
Because when I was hearing on the buildup, I just thought, even years ago when they announced that he was going to make these movies, I just thought, why? Like, no one that I know says, oh, Avatar was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it was a time and a place film that was
Totally.
like, because of the 3D, everyone was saying, you have to watch it in the theater because it's 3D. And I'm like, well, we're over 3D now. So what's the next big thing? You know?
Yeah.
And so I guess maybe now the story is shining more because previously, if you watch that film, I watched it again, the first Avatar, and I watched it and I was like, it's nothing. It's whatever.
Spoke honest.
And so maybe the story's really good this time. I don't know. You know,
reviews say it's a rehash of the first.
No
one.
way, really?
Yeah. They say it's a really similar
Come on,
story to the
dude.
first one. Just
Yeah.
they bring in more people to it.
Like, oh,
This dude
He's
has
not
got a-
likable though. Like that's one of the
the main
things.
character guy,
James
Jake.
Cameron,
James.
I mean, what director is likable?
Christopher Nolan,
Zack Snyder's a
Zack Snyder, Steven
He's
Spielberg.
likable.
Like James Cameron comes across. George Lucas is likable. James Cameron comes across as very like, I'm doing my own thing. Screw everyone else. Like, and there's a video that came out today. He came out. He was doing at a premiere or something. Like he went to like a fan showing, and you know when they like directors go out and they like surprise the fans.
Right.
So then he's leaving, and there's a bunch of people in the exit, and they're all like, "Hey," like trying to get his autograph, right? And he just walks through, and they start booing. They start going, "Boo!" Right? And he gets in his car.
He just flips
and,
them off.
Yeah, he rolls the
Did he
window down,
really?
and he goes, "Boo!"
Oh, no way! What a dick.
And people are like, "Avatar sucks!" But it's like,
Your fans?
yeah, well, they were there. They knew he was there, so they're trying to get.
Jeez.
So it was just kind of like, I'm
Yikes.
like, who else does that? Like he
What
does
a
have.
weird-
And,
James Cameron does
and
that.
even in his interviews, there's this whole thing like the stuff he says, where it's like, I don't know, he's not likable to me, and
Sometimes
It's
he can come
interesting.
off full of himself.
So what
I think
that's
that's kind of
called?
the
That's called
situation.
being a rock star. James
He-
Cameron is the
rock
director,
star.
movie
The director.
director equivalent of a rock star.
Yeah.
yeah,
There you
but
have it.
I don't
Yeah.
like that. I don't like that attitude in a rock star.
I mean, if you set the world record for the most earned,
twice.
it kind
Yeah.
of happens.
Yeah, he's like, your booze mean nothing to me.
Yeah,
Look
I
how much
get
money
it.
I'm sitting in 1 billion right here in the
Yeah.
trap.
Laughing all the way to the bank.
yeah, but that's my whole point. He's an unlikable person.
So do we
as a
think
director.
that? So do we think that? It's
You don't
gonna-
think he's unlikable?
Sure, but I feel like most people don't know that. They don't care.
Sure.
Most
sure,
people
sure.
don't
I think
know
they-
about directing.
Most
I'm not
people look
talking
at the.
about-
Yeah.
Most people just look at the movie.
No one does.
I know what
this.
you're
Yeah.
saying, but
Right,
sure,
but
for
that's my whole point. Isn't like what other people see. I'm just saying, for me, he's unlikable. Like his interviews, the way he talks, the things he does, he's unlikable. As when I watch other interviews with Nolan, with Snyder, with George Lucas, with other directors, they come across likable. He in anything he does is kind of like, I'm James Cameron. Like his word is kind of
James
like
Cameron.
Well, it is.
Watch my movie.
I hate it when he
You
says
waited
that.
13 minutes.
It's the
I mean,
whole
13 years.
it's
You
the
gotta
whole
watch
thing-
my movie.
It's this whole thing where he's like,
13 minutes.
testosterone is toxic. Like this
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing, like
Sure,
the
sure,
way
sure,
he talks down to people, even to audiences, and that is kind of like it's unlikable.
But-
for me,
So
I'm not
to
saying
to
for other
point,
people.
what other director could flip off fans and people? Because like
Still
you tell
watch
that
the
story,
movie.
and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. You know,
Who
that
else
makes
is
sense.
equally as
But that's what I'm saying.
as-
I think Steven Spielberg's made better movies than James Cameron. Like
But they haven't
Christopher
made as
Nolan's-
much money.
Christopher
who else
Nolan's
is-
made
yeah,
better.
right.
Well, I mean, if you take Steven Spielberg's made way more movies than James
Movie
Cameron.
per
Let's
movie,
add them
though.
all together.
That's
Then he's
different.
probably made more. That's the thing. And I think a lot of people consider Steven Spielberg to be a better director than James Cameron. But the thing is, just because Steven Spielberg, a lot of people would consider the GOAT, just because he's that way, like, and he's popular and he's made fantastic movies, you don't see him doing that stuff. So to me, it's like James Cameron has that attitude, like still a chip on his shoulder, even though he's really famous and made these awesome movies and made a ton of money. He still has this kind of like screw everyone else kind of
Yeah.
thing, and it's that attitude that I'm like, there's no one else that does that. Even directors that I would consider better, they don't do that. So that's what I'm saying.
But-
For me, he's very unlikable.
and that just bothers you.
He's just
But-
unlikable.
Well, my
That's
question
whole
is,
point.
how many percent, like, what percentage of normies even know or care about
Well, yeah,
that?
but I'm not talking.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No one cares. Yeah.
20, 10%.
Right.
Like, it's a very low amount. So he can do that.
Right, but that's
He can
not.
get away
I'm
with
not
it.
talking about normies though. I'm talking about myself.
Right.
Like that's my
But
whole
I'm
thing.
saying,
Like,
like-
he's unlikable to me.
As it pertains to ticket sales.
Right. Yes.
It's
No
not
one's
gonna-
gonna be
he
like,
can
oh,
do
I'm
this
not gonna go
freely.
because he flipped off fans.
Yeah.
But
But
to
he's
me,
like
it's
a
just
rock
like,
star in what you said. He's
Yeah.
a rock star in that way where he's almost untouchable.
That's right.
I could imagine like someone like Quentin Tarantino being that way.
Oh, sure.
right.
Yeah.
But it's just kind
Quentin
of weird.
Tarantino was kind of that way.
Oh,
He
for
is.
sure.
He is. He's in that kind of category, isn't he?
He doesn't give a crap about what you think.
Yeah, he'll make
Yeah.
comments, and you're like,
Instead
oh,
about what he
he's more
says
full
and
of
things.
himself too.
Yeah. So, do you guys plan on watching the movie? Does everyone plan on watching the
Or
movie?
are you afraid he'll flip you off?
No,
later?
I'm going to
Or
probably watch it.
protest.
I don't know if I'm going to theaters though. I mean, I probably
feel like
should.
you have to.
Dude, you
for the
got to watch
spectacle.
3D IMAX, man.
It's the only way.
But I will say, there's less of that word of mouth recommendation aspect of this movie. The first one, it's like my mom would tell me,
Yeah.
you got to watch it. My mom's not saying anything.
You got to watch Schindler's List.
You gotta watch Schindler's List. Yeah, there's not that. There's not that X factor. I
Yeah.
don't think so. I don't think it's gonna break the records that it had before the first one. But I mean, obviously, it's got the numbers.
Is
It's
it
almost
opening
gonna-
in China though? Is
Not
is
right now. They're-
showing in China.
China's shut down with COVID,
Oh, that's
Dude,
true.
China's crazy. Yeah,
so I don't think it's
so
shown in
they
China.
have that disadvantage. They're gonna break the 1 billion mark for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll break it
But
midweek.
it was like 2.9
Or this weekend.
It was the record or something like that. 2.9 or something like that.
yeah,
Close to 3. Do you think it's
I
gonna
don't
break?
think it. No, it's not going to break.
We don't think it's
It's
gonna
not going to be
break.
the highest.
No, I
grossing
think
movie
it'll still
yet.
make enough money for them to make their sequels, whatever they're
Do you think it's gonna make 2
5
billion?
movies they're gonna make.
The fake number or the
It'll
real
make
number?
it'll make the real number that they need to, not the 2 billion.
I wouldn't
Sure,
be
sure,
shocked
sure.
if they filmed the next one. It's already filmed.
Yeah.
And then opening night, everyone goes to watch it, and then it's just James Cameron flipping them off. And then it says the end.
Underwater though, at least is he blue? At least
You pay for these tickets. Go F yourself. Like, dang, dude.
Yeah.
Ungrateful.
Yeah.
Dang.
I'm rich.
Dang.
Yeah, I'll probably see it this week.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I was
Cool.
gonna watch it, but then I heard Jonah say he was a jerk.
now
so,
you know that he's a jerk. Now you don't want.
I'm changing my head.
I said he's
Perspective on
unlikable.
Right.
He just is.
That's fair.
Anyone
Yeah.
here like him?
I don't know.
I don't know him. Yeah,
He looks weird.
He's unlikable.
It's over 3 hours long movie.
yeah.
That's the only thing that kind of turns me off from it. Because I'm like, I got to cut out 3 hours 15 for a movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of tough to
Well,
kind
and that's not even counting the 30 minutes of previews.
Previews
for
yeah.
sure. So it's kind of tough to watch. Yeah, I think that's knocking on the door of kind of inconvenient. But yeah.
Unless it's Batman, then it's just.
Oh yeah, we don't care. We take a
it's
whole
perfect.
half day off. We take a half day off for
That's right.
Batman.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder.
That's all I had for just the quick topics
Who else
off the
don't you
top.
like?
Who else do I like? Who else is unlikable?
Well, I was gonna say, who
you
else-
guys are all
Who
unlikable.
else is an unlikable director?
I think Quentin Tarantino is right. Is right.
Because he's blunt. Is that why?
Or you don't like his movies.
No, well, because
You don't like his movies.
I'm not a huge fan of his movies,
Okay.
but I feel like he does have like a my stuff, my poop doesn't stink attitude.
Put down stank.
And he does
Black Eyed
these
Peas.
things that to me just drive me crazy. And then for him to be like, "Oh, well, you guys don't get it." Like,
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that movie is so boring,
Never
and it
watched
spends so much time. Like, it spends 7 minutes
That's
following
a lot.
Brad Pitt cooking and giving his dog food, and then it just goes for 15 minutes of them just turning around in Hollywood and Margot Robbie's feet, and it's just like, okay, nothing is going on here, but it's kind of this whole attitude of like, I'm Quentin Tarantino, I can do what I want, as long as at the end you get a bunch of gore and something crazy, everyone's gonna eat it up.
Right.
So the way he talks about other movies to me drives me nuts. Like when he says things about superhero movies or stuff like that, I'm just
Well,
like,
do you agree with his opinion
about Marvel, yes.
on Back to the Future being a technically perfect movie?
Oh, he's right about that.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
he's right about that.
So he's likable.
so we're not too different.
But I just think there's people like that are kind of like,
Right.
it's, those are the unlikable.
It's a bit of a turnoff, yeah. Is there any other directors, guys, that you guys
trying
can
to
think
think.
of? Maybe a little bit too power hungry, a little bit.
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott is a jerk, but it's
Wait.
not but
He's not an unlikable jerk, though. You
no,
know,
There's a difference. James Cameron is like comes across as really like I'm better than you.
pretentious.
Ridley
yes,
Scott is more like that's a stupid question. Like he's a old grumpy old man jerk. Clint Eastwood is the same way, where he's more of like a grumpy old man.
That's kind of endearing, you know.
James Cameron is more of like high on himself, where the other guys just are like, oh, don't mess with Ridley Scott because he'll be like, "This is a stupid question." Like there's interviews where they're asking Ridley Scott stuff when he was on The Last Duel, and he's like, "Did you even watch the effing movie?" And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, well didn't?" He's like, "It's stupid," and he just like walks off.
I mean, to be fair, if the guy got something wrong,
Completely wrong.
I would do.
That's
maybe
what I'm
not
saying.
that much, but
He's that kind of guy that's just like, yeah, whatever. You know.
I don't know if
Whereas
that's
James Cameron's more of like, my opinion is better than everyone else's.
Right.
In my opinion, which is better than everyone else's, that's how
Exactly.
Of course.
Jonah just doesn't like him because he sees himself in him. You know, he's like, I don't like that guy.
A genius.
Similar to myself.
You're right. I'm a genius.
Correct.
This is the thing. There's plenty of directors, actors, athletes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's plenty of them that are like, yeah, you're a punk and you think you're the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
But that's probably why you do what you do.
That's
You know
because
what
a
I
lot
mean?
of people are telling him that too.
See, that to
lot of
me
people are
though,
telling him
that to me is like,
You don't like Mamba mentality, baby?
no, but what I'm saying is that gives an excuse to people to be like, oh, well, the reason he's that good. I don't think James Cameron was like that when he first started,
For sure.
but it's gotten to his head. And again, I'll compare it with another person, Christopher Nolan or Steven Spielberg, who I think have done fantastic movies. We'll use Steven Spielberg. There's never been a moment where you can point back and be like, man, Steven Spielberg's a complete jerk.
No, because he's a nice guy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that doesn't give James James Cameron can still make great movies without being pretentious.
You know who's a total jerk? Guillermo del Toro. I hear
There
he's
goes another one.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, what?
He's like the nicest guy in the world.
Peter Jackson.
I remember.
Peter Jackson's the worst too.
No, I agree. Like, I don't know, and I don't know how much you would have to have that because you're saying examples of people who are like geniuses, and at the same time they don't have to be jerks. You know, maybe we give certain people also a pass because they create things that we love, and we say, "Oh yeah, I mean, he's a jerk, but that's kind of how he is, right?"
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, it's all diverse.
It's like George Lucas too. It's like George Lucas completely changed cinema and pop culture with Star Wars, and yet you don't have clips of him being like things that James Cameron has said with George Lucas, right? And even though there's been a huge backlash against George Lucas and stuff, he still continues to be George Lucas. Well, you know, I think it's really good when Leia did that, right? So that to me is like James Cameron gets the pass of being like, well, he's talented.
No,
so,
no one's giving him a pass. We're saying he's a
So
jerk.
he's a grade A D-bag, is what you're saying.
Or he's
Like
making the
worst.
money.
He's the worst. Is that what you're saying?
No,
He's the worst.
I said he's unlikable, guys.
Okay.
And then you guys
No, I'm just saying, like, rating
defended
wise,
him.
he's the worst.
You heard it here. Jonah hates James Cameron.
I guess for me personally, like I don't feel as strong about it as you do because I think when it comes to directors, it's easy to separate them from like their personality from
Right.
the movie that they
Sure.
direct.
Right.
Unlike an athlete or something.
And it's even harder with actors, don't you think? Like with
Yeah.
actors, we kind of like do because
I mean,
we're
you
seeing
just
their
you
face
see,
all
you
the
see
time.
them more.
Russell
and-
Crowe's supposed to be a giant jerk.
That's true.
Oh, we give him a pass?
Gladiator 2, by the way.
They are, dude.
I heard that.
Gladiator
Yeah,
2,
yeah.
baby.
Ridley
Script's already
Scott.
done. Ridley Scott's ready to go.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
That'd be interesting.
They bring Russell Crowe back from the dead. That's how it starts.
I'm down.
Spoilers.
Spoilers already.
Yeah, well.
Anyways, that'll
That's how
do
good we
it
are.
for
James Cameron
Cameron's
hate
Jerk
James
Talk.
Cameron's a jerk.
It's going to get a lot of clicks and views.
That's
Can we
Come
get
at me, James
Can we
Cameron.
get a good
Flip me
thumbnail
off.
for that?
put me up.